Good evening, Geometry. It's Mr. Lamb, and this is the 6.1 to 6.4 quiz key. So this is the quiz that you took on Monday. Quiz is out of a total of 14 points. I did take it as a double grade. So as we go through, I'll tell you how many points everything's worth and so on and so forth. Question number 1 is worth 3 points, and question number 2 is worth 3 points. Now these 3 points are kind of related to one another. So as you find slopes, that third point is going to be based on what you found for slope. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you read number 1 and number 2's direction, it says determine algebraically whether A, B, and C, D are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. That response is predicated on what answers you find for slope. Even if they are wrong, you may be getting credit for a point because you said neither, and they should have been parallel maybe, and your slopes show that it should have been neither. So I'll grade that one based on how you answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the slope of AB. First thing I'm going to do, find the slope of AB. So the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to take my two y's. There they are, negative 7 and 9, and I'll subtract them. So negative 7, that's negative 9. There we go. Let's try negative 7 minus 9. There we go. Negative 7 minus 9. Those are my y's. The x's are the first letters in both of those. So I have negative 2 minus negative 4. Minus and negative is the same as adding. So that slope, negative 7 minus 9, is negative 16. Negative 2 plus 4 is 2. Negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8 over 1. And now I'm going to do the same thing for CD. So here's segment CD. Again, I'm going to find the slope. All right, the slope of CD, again, we're going to do y2 minus y1. So let me find my y's for C and D. So I'm going to do 2 minus 5. And then my x's are 15 and negative 9. So 15 minus negative 9. It's like 15 plus 9. Negative 2 minus 5 is negative, or 2 minus 5 is negative 3. 15 plus 9 is 24, which reduces to negative 1 over 8. And now I just compare. As I take a look at these, I have negative 8 over 1 and negative 1 over 8. Those two are reciprocals. However, they're not opposite reciprocals. And if we're going to say perpendicular, they have to be opposite reciprocals. These are not opposites. They're both negative. So this answer is neither. So I graded each one of the two slopes as a point, plus the decision based on those slopes as the second point, or as the third point. Same thing over here with number 2. I want to find AB first, and the slope. All right, so here I'll mark the y's for A and B. So I have there's A and there's B. So the points are out on the ends. So I'm going to go negative 11 minus 7. And then the x's for those 2 points are 6 minus 3. So negative 11 minus 7 is negative 18. 6 minus 3 is 3. So that's negative 6 over 1. Okay. And for CD, y's on top, so 9 minus 3. Then the x's are 1 minus 2. So 9 minus 3 is 6. 1 minus 2 is negative 1, which is negative 6 over 1. So the slope of AB is negative 6 over 1. The slope of CD is negative 6 over 1. They are the same slope. And if they're the same slope, they are parallel. So again, those are 3 points there. 3 points. All right, down to numbers 3 and 4. Both are worth 2 points. You get a point for finding the slope and putting it in the equation. You get a point for finding the y-intercept and putting it into the equation. So the first thing I need you to know is I'm looking for an equation that is in the form y equals mx plus b. All right, so I need y equals mx plus b. So this problem says it has to be parallel to that line. It has to be parallel to that line. Parallel means same slope. So I have an m value of 1 over 2. It's not 1 over 2x. I kept seeing a lot of people putting an x there. It's just 1 over 2. It's the number in front of the x. So the slope here is 1 over 2. Now I need to find the y-intercept. I'm going to kind of use this y equals mx plus b formula. So I'm going to put it over here just so I can kind of see. I have a point that has an x value and a y value. And that's right where I'm going to put them. So in for y, I'll put a 9 equals the m I know is 1/2. The x value is -4 plus b. Okay, let's move that now. Okay, so that's 9. Half of -4 is -2 plus b. Get b by itself by adding 2. So that's 11 is equal to b. So now I know my two variables. I see b is 11 and m is 1/2. So my equation is y equals m, which is 1/2, x plus the b value, which is 11. Notice that where the x is located. I just put it off to the side. It's not on the bottom. You can put it on the top if you want, but I like just writing that fraction 1/2, then an x, then plus 11. Question number 2 is almost exactly the same, so I'm going to just steal some stuff here. Y equals mx plus b. What's now given to me? Well, now I know it is perpendicular to that line. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means perpendicular means that the slope has to be an opposite reciprocal. So my slope here, instead of positive 4 over 1, has to be negative 1 over 4. That is an opposite reciprocal. This is my x value and my y value. And let's find b. So my y value is -3. My m value is -1/4. The x value is 16 plus b. All right. Well, -1 over 4 times 16 is -4 plus b. Add 4 to both sides. 1 is my b value. So now I have both parts. I have everything I need. What does y equal? Y equals -1/4 x plus 1. Again, 1 point if you found the b and put it into the equation. 1 point if you found m and put it into the equation. So if you just found it and never put it in the equation, I gave you a half, because that's half of the 1 point. Onto the back, I'm going to do this all in one video tonight. I'm finding distances, probably just as easy if I plot these points and count. I'm going to make some triangles. So A is at -610, so go left 6, up 10. Here is A. B is 2, so +2 and up 4. I need to find the distance between the two. Okay, so let me connect those two first of all. That's kind of what I'm looking at right there. So I'm going to make a triangle. I'm going to take A over and then down. You can go down and right, I don't really care. Now I have a right triangle and I can do Pythagorean theorem. So counting from A over to the 90-degree angle, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is 8 units long. Going down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units long. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 6 squared plus 8 squared equals whatever this distance is. I'll call it D squared. 6 squared is 36. 8 squared is 64. 36 plus 64 is 100. And D will equal the square root of that number. Well, thankfully for us, the square root of 100 comes out nice to 10. It is 10. That is worth 1 point. If you got 10, that's worth 1 point. Problem number 6. This is also worth 1 point. Doing the same thing. So A is at 8, 9, so go right 8 up 9. That is point A. And then negative 4, 5. That's point B. I need to find that distance. This time I'll put triangle on the bottom. Doesn't really matter. So from negative 4 all the way over to 8, that is a distance of 12. And coming up from 5 to 9, that's a distance of 4. So again, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 12 squared plus 4 squared equals d, the distance of that segment squared. So 144 plus 16. 144 plus 16 is 160. So d equals the square root of 160. Well, that simplifies. Think about 160. It is 16 times 10. 16 is 4 times 4. 10 is 2 times 5. Those two are primes. 4s are both 2, 2, 2, and 2. So when I break down 160 as its list of primes, it is 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 5. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2s and a 5. 5 2s and a 5. So there you've got to come out in a group of 2. If you want to get them out of the radical, they have to come out as groups of 2. So I can pull out a 2 here. If I pair those together. I pull out a 2 here. If I pair those together. There are no more pairs in there. So on the outside is 2 times 2. So on the outside of this thing is 4. That's 2 times 2. Inside the radical is 2 times 5, which is 10. So 4 radical 10 is your final answer. If I saw the square root of 160, I did give you half credit. If I saw the square root of 160, I gave you half credit. Because hopefully on a multiple choice test, you can type into a calculator the square root of 160. You can type in 4 radical 10 and make sure that those two things are equivalent to one another. Last problem, number 7, finding the midpoint. This is worth 2 points. I gave you a point if you found the x portion, and then I gave you a point if you found the y portion. What do I mean by the x portion? I'm looking for the average of the x's. I'll call it x bar because that's what they do in the stats world. We talked about that in one of the previous videos. So x bar means add your two x's together and divide by 2. So my two x values are 8 and negative 4. Add them together. 8 plus negative 4 is the same thing as 8 minus 4. 8 minus 4 is 4. Divided by 2 is 2. That is the x value of my point, 2. Now the y value of the point, I'm going to use the 5 and the 2. I want to find the average of 5 and 2. Add them together. 5 plus 2 divided by 2. 5 plus 2 is 7 divided by 2, and that does not simplify. So the y value is 7 halves. If you put 3.5, I gave you credit there. That was no problem. 3.5 is okay. Biggest mistake that I saw people trying to subtract here instead of adding up and dividing by 2. They were subtracting and dividing by 2. So remember, finding an average, add them up, divide by 2. So each point, 2 was worth a point. 7 halves was worth a point. So it was worth 2. If you had the right answers, but you put them in the wrong spot, if you had 7 over 2, comma 2, I gave you one of the 2 points. I gave you half credit. So I hope this helps, and have a great night.